QB2, where are you? We're about to figure it out. Who is the QB2 for the New York Jets? And what's left to do? Left to do with it in free agency. You know, Darren Muji, he's been cooking. The first 3 days, this man, he's been cooking with gas and adding a whole lot of players to this team. So what is left to do? We are going to talk about that. We're going to talk about this and everything else because we are live. It is Boy Green meets Wudi.
Can you guys help us get a jet chant here? Yeah, going.
Oh.
Okay, right. Come on in.
Yeah.
Go.
Okay, let's go! J-E-T-S, Jets! Let's go! J-E-T-S, Jets! Let's go!
Third Party Thursday.
Chris joining us here on the program with a capital P here on the program.
Jake Asman, come on down. How you doing, good sir?
Wow, what an intro. I mean, Boy Green is known for having the intro, but Wudi, that was unreal, man. Thanks for the kind words, son.
We are men of many names.
My favorite Austrian Jets fan right there, baby.
Boy Green
meets Wudi. Welcome to another episode of Boy Green Meets Wudi. It is your boy James Wudi, and you already know we are Wudi, rocking everywhere. Right here, my man. He is the boy who became king, Mr. None other than Paul Esden Jr. in the building. How are you doing on this Thursday afternoon?
Well, it's good to see that things have sort of calmed on down, because it was the wild west the last couple of days. So it feels good to just breathe a little. I think there's more moves to be had, and we'll talk about it. But it feels good just to breathe a little bit. I'll have to catch up on all this later, but all the deals of the Jets are being official. Their trades, Tavondre Sweat, Jermaine Johnson passed their physicals today, so that got through. Minka Fitzpatrick, David Onyemata, they're speaking with the media, so press conferences, what's their role, why'd they come here? So, man, there's a lot to marinate in and sort of put all those pieces together. So I'm looking forward to learning more about some of these players that are here for the first time and hearing those interviews. So a lot of hay to be put in the barn here, Wudi. A lot of hay to be put in the barn.
You darn tootin'. You know, like you said, Wild West, there was a lot of things shooting, a lot of shootouts going on. And it is nice. It is nice to breathe. I feel like I didn't see my family for like 2 days, but now we are back at it. We are a unit. And the Jets, I have to say, they definitely filled some holes. I had a list of positions.
Okay.
6 positions that I was really worried about, and most of them I am way less worried about because, Darren Muji, he actually added somebody in all 6 positions. Yeah, I mean, I think overall they did a great job.
That's good to hear, Wudi. I didn't know that the vernacular of Tony the Tiger. I didn't know that was in your repertoire. Great. Didn't know that was one of your words, but it's good to hear it, Wudi. It's good to hear it.
It's a pretty simple word, I think we've all used it
more often. I like that word.
Unfortunately, our podcast is about the Jets, so I don't really have a chance to say it.
I see. Well, I would say, there's a lot that they've addressed. I like that they have a lot of flexibility going into the draft because they checked a lot of things off the bucket list. I think they have a starting 5 offensive line that could line up right now. That I like.
I don't know about that. Wait, what did you say? Starting 5 or top 5? What did you say?
Starting 5.
Yeah. They
Five
do have
people
that.
on Earth.
No, I know what a starting 5 is. I just, for some reason, my brain heard top 5, so I got
top 5. Whoa, he ran it in there, pal. I didn't say great. I said, starting 5. So right. I like that there's not this massive hole anymore at left guard. Dylan Parham has now joined the group, and he's a fine, solid player. You guys can hear more on him if you don't know much about him, because I didn't really. With Mo Moten, who covers the Raiders every day. So he joined me this morning on Boy Green Daily. So you want to hear about Dylan Parham? That's the place to do it. And he gave a very blunt assessment of who he is and what he brings to the table. And I think if you have dreams of All-Pro and all that other stuff, you may be disappointed. But if you just have realistic expectations of what he is and the contract he signed, which was another Muji masterclass of not giving up too much money or doing anything crazy, wonderful. So that I like of the 5. But like I said, I think there's some things to still be hunted down here. So let's get into some of them, Woody. I think the main one, to not Jets breaking news. Okay, I'm keeping an eye on my phone just in case. Okay, Rashad White to the Commanders. That's good to know. But a nice little move. But QB2. So the Jets have QB1. That's Geno Smith, that jersey hanging right there, baby. I still can't believe it. I don't know when I'm going to believe it. Maybe like a press conference with Geno will do it. But like even then, I'm not sure. So I'm not sure when that's actually going to hit that has happened. Like it has happened. He did pass his physical, I saw earlier today, or it was late yesterday. So that did occur. But I don't know when it's going to hit. I was watching Geno Smith highlight. The Jets put out like a 15-minute highlight tape of like his run with the Jets the first time. And I'll be honest, I'm drying dishes while this Geno Smith highlight tape is going on. And they're showing it. It seems somewhat chronologically, like, because I remember the first game of his career was against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And, he's going through the game and he just has a fine whatever game. And then there's like 2 minutes left in the game. And it's, hey, Geno, drive the team down the field to get the win or you lose. And, I hear them say on the broadcast, boy, you're going to need a miracle here. Running out of time. 30 seconds left. And Geno scrambles out the pocket, goes down the right sideline, and he steps out of bounds, and Levante David shoves him to the ground when he was already out of bounds. And the refs and the Jets sidelines going, give us a flag. And they're like, 15 yards on Levante David. And Levante's going, jeez. And then Geno gets Nick Folk. Our kicker from last year. He was also the kicker back in 2013. Lines him up for the game-winning field goal. Boom. And Geno's doing the Geno before that was a thing. And crazy. They showed his week 3 Monday Night Football game. Jets-Falcons. Last-second drive by Geno Smith to get the Jets another win. Guess who? Folk hero, baby. Delivering. So, yeah, I got pretty fired up. I was fist pumping, going, yeah, as if it was a game going on right now. But it was from 13 years ago. So, yeah, I got a little fired up on that Geno Smith action, Woody, to start. I won't lie.
I really don't even have anything to say to that.
Right.
Good. That's good. No, that's good. That's nice. That is so nice.
I did enjoy that. Yeah.
Yes.
And I see Anthony Rodriguez, and you, Ben, had that jersey back there. Yeah, I had anticipated for a while. It's been here for like 2 weeks, actually, if you guys have been watching the show. So, yes, I had an inkling. I thought that's the direction they were going to go, and they did. So, shout out. Very nice. Anywho,
fair question.
Yes.
My guy, James Mart on the Take Flight Talk channel. Wait, Bailey Zappi, is he going to be QB2?
Stop it.
Is there any shot of that?
Well, I mean, like, I guess there's a shot until there's not, but that is not going to happen. So here's the latest on the QB2. So right now, you got Geno Smith on the team, so that's official. You still have Justin Fields on the team. Tyrod's a free agent. Bailey Zappi's on the team, so he's on it. Brady Cook's on the team, so you sort of have a modge podge of guys right now. The Jets plan on adding a QB2, and I think at that point when they do, Justin Fields will be let go or they'll try to trade him. I don't know if they're going to find a home. Unlikely. So they're holding out for that possibility. Probably like the 49ers are holding out Brandon Ayuk. By the way, no one's trading for that. So you could just cut him. You could just move on. But some teams do it just in case. You never know what can happen, I guess. And they're going to be going after a QB2. Now, everyone forever and their mama thought it was going to be Carson Wentz because that was the reporting. Frank Reich connection, all that. But it was last night or the night before, I think it was yesterday, that the insiders of Connor Hughes and Zach Rosenblatt on a Jets Final Drive said that's no longer a lock. And that, quite frankly, not only is it no longer a lock, it is unlikely at this point that he's going to come to the Jets instead, go to a better backup quarterback opportunity in the league. So with that being the case, the Jets now will have to pivot to a new direction. I would say the favorite right now, if there was a gun to my head, is not Bailey Zappi, I'm afraid. Would probably be Andy Dalton. He's currently under contract with the Panthers. He has a Frank Reich connection. The Panthers are likely going to cut him at some point. Worst case, they trade him to the Jets for that 7th, 6th-round pick swap if they just have some desire to build their entire quarterback room through trade. That could be a possibility. So I think Andy Dalton's going to be the guy right now.
I think we said this on Tuesday that Dalton, that's not a bad option. The last couple of times he's played, he's been solid. We've seen a lot of horrific QB play up close and personal, and I don't think Andy Dalton falls in that category of horrific. He's just a nice veteran to have. He's helped Bryce Young.
Sure.
He's shown him, right? Bryce was benched and Dalton did work. I remember because my fantasy team, changed my fantasy outlook with Chuba Hubbard, some of the guys out there. And then, Bryce came back and, he's a good guy to have in the locker room. So no quarrels there.
Yeah, neither do I, as CBW saying, the red rifle. He had people underrated or forget about it or whatever. He had a nice, decade run with the Bengals. It was him and AJ Green. They came in the same draft class. My boy, AJ Green. I got his autographed jersey around here somewhere, but I love AJ from our days back at Somerville, South Carolina, baby. Me and old AJ back there. And he was a top 5 pick, and then Andy Dalton was a 2nd-round pick in that same class out of TCU, and they were together for a decade. And unfortunately, there was Marvin Lewis, so they didn't win many playoff games during that run, but they were just 9-7 or 10-6 like every year. And he just put up really nice numbers, and he made a couple of Pro Bowls. So yeah, Andy Dalton's rock solid. And again, for what the Jets are probably going to have in the quarterback room, Geno Smith. Let's call it Andy Dalton right now, and then random rookie. All right. We've had much worse quarterback rooms than that before. So, again, I envision that could be a trade situation potentially, or the Jets are just going to wait him out because the Panthers are unlikely going to keep Bryce Young, Kenny Pickett, and Andy Dalton. That seems unlikely. So he's probably going to be let go at some point. So I imagine he ends up being the QB2 for the Jets. So that's a good place to start, Woody, on the list of things left to do. One of the top ones for the Jets is finding the QB2 to Geno Smith.
Yeah, I guess this franchise is too comfortable just giving guys keys. Giving guys keys. I'm not sure if somebody who cost their coach's job the last 2 consecutive years should just be handed something, especially when the current coach that he's playing for is on the hottest seat in the NFL. But what can we do? They keep making the same mistake. Handed Justin Fields the keys last year, and
whoa, wait. Now, I think Geno is obviously going to be the starter. I mean, especially since no one else is there right now. But Geno, when he did the 30-minute interview with Josina Anderson, and he was on with her, she basically asked that question, said, "Hey, so what's your role? Have you guys talked about that?" And Geno went, "Hey, man, I'm not going to speak for coach. I'm not going to say nothing. I'm the quarterback. He's the head coach. He can say whatever. So, I'm ready to compete and all these other things." But I think the wink to the camera is Geno Smith is clearly the QB1 of the Jets.
Yeah. So that's what do you mean? So that's what I'm saying.
But you don't think that it should be? You don't think that he should be the unquestioned QB1?
I feel like I've made that pretty clear.
Yeah, but who realistically would come in where it wouldn't be to you a Fugazi competition? If it's Geno Smith versus Brady Cook and Bailey Zappi, okay, they can tell us it's a competition, but come on, man, let's stop fucking around here. We know it's Geno Smith. I don't think there is this legitimate competition because there's no legitimate other guy. It's not like it's Geno Smith versus Kirk Cousins or something. Battle it out. Oh shit, either one could win the job. I don't know. But there's no one they're going to acquire where it's going to be a legitimate coin flip unless they draft like Ty Simpson 16th overall or something,
Oh,
then maybe
stop.
Ty Simpson versus Geno Smith is this competition where it's a real thing in camp, and I would assume Geno would win. Like outside of that, there's no legitimate guy that's going to be added here that pushes Geno. That would surprise me.
My God. I
Hey,
feel
sorry,
like
man. I'm just
you just
throwing it out
read.
there in the universe.
Yeah, I know, but you must have read page 51 of my diary, because that is my greatest fear, is that
Wow.
they do some BS like that. But yeah, no, I mean that, and hey, do your thing. Give somebody else the keys. I do think competition would be a healthy situation,
Sure.
but just gonna give somebody the keys for yet another year. And we're gonna see how that goes. So I guess we can talk about some other positions that they could fill up.
All right.
Before the draft. I actually seen this one in the comments a lot.
Okay.
And it's the first one that I wrote on my sheet. So
Okay.
I'll go with wide receiver.
I would concur. I think that's a massive need for the Jets. We've established this before. If you've ever watched A Boy Green Meets Wudi, we hardly agree. And Wudi feels one way about a player on this roster. I feel a different way. By the way, there's 200 people in the room. Appreciate it. Make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe no matter where you're watching, at BoyGreen25 or at Take Flight Talk. So Adonai Mitchell. I'm excited for Adonai Mitchell. I hope he lives up to all the potential. He was a top 60 pick of the draft a couple of years ago. Super talented kid. We didn't get to see him play with Garrett, unfortunately, because of the injury situation. So he was his own man. So I'm excited to see what he can bring. But to me, under no circumstance am I comfortable if we enter training camp and Adonai Mitchell is the wide receiver 2 on this team. I don't feel comfortable with that at all. I think best case scenario, I would like him to be wide receiver 3. And then if he beats out whoever this wide receiver 2 is, I don't think wide receiver 2 is going to be Devontae Adams. I think it could be, the dream that everyone talks about, whether or not everyone wants it or not, is Brian Thomas Jr. of Jacksonville. And in that scenario, Adonai Mitchell would not leapfrog Brian Thomas Jr., but I don't even know. Jawan Jennings. But what do you mean? You say why not? Could Adonai Mitchell be on Brian Thomas Jr.?
But Brian Thomas Jr. got leapfrogged by everybody on the Jaguars.
Yeah, because they're stupid.
Ribbit.
Because they're stupid. Yeah, okay. Yeah, they can play those stupid Frogger games in Jacksonville. I'm playing the real games. Pro Bowler Brian Thomas Jr. ain't getting passed by Adonai Mitchell. But whoever.
They offered Justin Fields a Pro Bowl, but keep going.
Yeah, I think one person having a Pro Bowl with 6 touchdown passes and 1 pick versus one guy having a Pro Bowl with 87 catches, 1,200 yards, and 10 touchdowns is a little different, but different strokes, different folks. The fact of the matter is that I want a legitimate number 2 there. And if somehow Mitchell beat out that number 2, then that's a great day for all of us. But I'm not comfortable with him being wide receiver 2. I'd rather be wide receiver 3. So that means the void is at wide receiver 2, trying to find that guy. I don't think that guy exists in free agency unless you sign like a Jawan Jennings, but I believe he's still out there. I got to keep an eye out on the latest in the free agent market. But that would probably surprise me if they went that deep, because Juwan, I imagine today, is too expensive. But if we start going a couple weeks down the line and free agents hang around, maybe that's where you can get a deal. So probably your best line is via trade and trying to see if you could get a guy that way to potentially be your wide receiver 2, because I don't really see it in free agency.
That's very true. And that was actually along the lines of what I was going to say, is that the wide receiver situation, I'm really starting to fall in love with the idea of using one of the first round picks in drafting that wide receiver next to Garrett Wilson. And now what you've done is really just secure, you hope obviously that the receiver you draft is going to be, a first round, give you first round production. And now you have a duo under contract for the next 4 years, and you don't have to worry about it. I really feel like that is better than any other option. I would even put that as a better option than trading for Brian Thomas Jr., even though it's kind of similar. You have more contract time, and you're not giving up an asset. So that's where I'm leaning toward. But I still think that there should be a receiver added, like a veteran added, because you look at the room, we only talking about Garrett and AD. But what after AD, we talking about Arian Smith, who right now is this regime's Malachi Corley right now. After that, Isaiah Williams, who low key actually had some offensive plays, but he's supposed to be special teams. So I think we need a guy for that part of the depth chart too. So I'm definitely looking for them to add a receiver during free agency. But I think in terms of the wide receiver 2 specific search, I really think that's a first round type conversation. What do you think about that?
I ain't mad at that at all. If Carnell Tate, Jordan Tyson, Mekhi Lemon, who I saw ran his pro day earlier today and improved on his 40 time. So tip of the cap to Mekhi. I know a lot of people made a lot of hay about that. And I'm curious when the Ohio State pro day comes out, if Carnell Tate can improve on his time. His mid 4.5 really surprised me. So I'll be curious if he can improve on that time. And at pro days, you normally improve on that time. Wink at the camera. But, whatever the case may be. I'm not mad at that at all. If the Jets walk away from the first round with one of those 3 guys, or is there some other name that emerges in the mix in the next 6 weeks, so be it. I'm going to be at the draft live, so we'll do some more promotion of that when we get closer. So I will, when Roger Goodell steps up to that podium and says pick 2 and pick 16, or maybe any trades, I am going to be there in the moment, and I'll try to record it and scream whatever my reaction is. But I imagine I'd be pretty excited if we get a wide receiver. Garrett Wilson should be excited. Fans should be excited. Geno Smith should be excited. I mean, that's good for business for the president and also for the future, because, with all due respect to my guy Geno back here at 35 years old, he's not the long-term answer for the Jets. So whoever comes in next is going to be, I would imagine, more titillated, like, holy shit, look, we have Garrett. We have, let's say, a first-round wide receiver. We have Mason Taylor, who's another year in. We have Bryce Hall, who either got a long-term deal or a franchise tag and a great season. This offensive line, there's a lot to work with there, and that's very attractive, I would imagine. So, yeah, that you could definitely sell me on a wide receiver in the first round. The Tyson scares me with the injuries. Again, your medical staff has to make sure that one's good. I'm not too, like I mentioned, the Carnell Tate 40-yard time earlier. I'm not, if people want to overreact to that, fine. Like, he's a really good football player. So I don't really give a shit about the 40-yard dash. I wish it was faster because it's just cooler to have a faster guy on 40s, but he's a good football player. And so is Mekhi Lemon, for that matter.
Yeah, I can't lie. I'm high on all 3. I think all 3 are going to make an impact. Boss Girl, shout out Boss Girl X, about the injury history, specifically with Tyson. And, it is, I guess, scary, right? But there are plenty of guys who, were injured in college, and, that's like an asterisk, and then they come into the league, and they're pretty much fine. Like Frank Gore, one of the NFL's Iron Men, played until he was, how old was he with the Jets? 81, 82? All the dudes in the league. And that was, he tore his ACL, like he was messed up in college, and that was a big asterisk. So Jordan Tyson, I think he would be a great pick. I would not be mad if they say any of those 3 names at 16. I think that is reason to rejoice as a New York Jet fan. And like you said, moving forward, whoever comes in, man, whoever is coming in. Garrett, that person, Mason, Bryce, the line. Come on now. Come on. All right. That's a reason to be excited. And again, I know the for as long as we do this show, right, it's always gonna be like, oh, Wudi, is he negative? Is he positive? Blah. And I always say no, it's about realism and fiction. The real is that if we draft a wide receiver at 16, we have pretty much guaranteed that the next quarterback will be put in the best situation of any rookie quarterback, like offensively, in the 21st century. So come on now. That's what we got to do. And somebody, and they weren't trolling. I think they were dead serious. Said Ty Simpson at 16. That person is not invited to my birthday party. I forget who it was. I seen somebody say it. And it has nothing to do with me not wanting. Bro, we got the opportunity to get a QB next year, right? Y'all so excited. Geno, y'all so excited. Enjoy this year of Geno Smith. And we're gonna get our guy next year. We got the capital. We might even have the draft position, but y'all don't want to hear that. But we're gonna have the capital. So that's where we gotta worry about it. To waste a pick, if you guys want to get like some Nussmeier, Carson Beck, somebody typed out all the letters, everything. So you guys want that? All right, cool. But the real deal, the franchise, right? The leader of the New York Jets, they will be drafted next year, or they should. I can't. They should be drafted next year in that draft.
I will tell you again, as someone who's going to be at that draft live, and I will be there for, at a minimum, the first, second, and third rounds. So I will hear Goodell or whoever is stepping up on in the second round. If they have a guest picker, sometimes they have John Abraham, Lavernius Coles, the Jets legend, or something that announces second round picks. There will be a reaction if Ty Simpson is taken with one of those first 4 picks in the top 44. That is for certain. Quarterbacks are volatile, exciting, like, oh no, what are we doing? Oh wait, yes, everything in between. So I wanted to get to this from Twitter. Danny in real life, who's a diehard Buffalo Bills fan, jumping in on this Jets show. I can't take credit for this, but Geno Smith is the best Jets quarterback since Geno Smith. Laugh. I get that people are trying to crack jokes, but get better jokes. 2015 Ryan Fitzpatrick, which Bills boy, you should know better than anyone, okay, in Buffalo Bills town. Ryan Fitzpatrick had 3,900 passing yards, 31 touchdowns. He set the franchise record, which still stands to this day. He has the most passing touchdowns of any Jets quarterback in a single season ever. He has the second most passing yards of a Jets quarterback ever, which is crazy to think. So, which, by the way, ironically or not, he only got that job because Geno got punched in the jaw. So Ryan Fitzpatrick in 2015 took over for Geno Smith. He stepped over his left body to the starting lineup. So, as funny as people are trying to be forcing jokes, it's not funny because it's not. But I like Geno. And again, let's see what he does. Let's see if he's matured. Mo Moton did highlight a point on the show that, right, like, it seems like Geno has matured a lot. But apparently and I didn't hear about all of this, there were some immaturity issues for Geno last year. Apparently after a game, he's heading to the locker room and he flips the bird at a fan who was like nagging him or whatever the word, egging him on or something. And he flipped the bird at a fan. A 34, now 35-year-old quarterback shouldn't be doing that. So there is still some level of immaturity issues that exist for Geno that existed way back in the day. So, we just got to see how he's evolved. But no, that Geno is not the best quarterback since Geno. As funny as that joke would be, no, not there.
Yep, have to agree with that. But oh god, that's so painful that I have to talk about Geno Smith for the next 365 days. It's
2026, and maybe beyond. There's been some chatter if he performs well, he would be the bridge for the next guy, so he'd be brought back.
Well, we already know that's not going to happen, so we don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
Do you have a position that you would like to introduce?
I do.
Wide receiver. Oh, you do.
So again, wide receiver. Let's see what else they could do with that position. The Jets, I mentioned it earlier, have a starting 5. If right now some football game against Mars had to happen, the Jets are like, well, here's our 5, trot them out, and they've got 5 to trot out. I think a sneaky position that people don't talk about enough is swing tackle. And a few days ago, the Jets had 4 offensive linemen under contract on the entire team. That was Olu Muiwa, there was Joe Tippmann, there was Josh Myers, and Armand Membu. That was it. Thankfully, over the last 48 hours, they've added some people. So Dylan Parham, he's your left guard for now. You've brought back 2 reserves, Max Mitchell and Xavier Newman. Max Mitchell, the team really likes. He's been their 6th offensive lineman in jumbo sets. He's been a fine former 4th-round pick guy that's just depth. So they bring in some depth. Those won't be, and I have a story that's dropping after Boy Green meets Wudi. Those aren't front page news, but the Jets were the only team in the NFL last year to start the same 5 from week 1 through week 18. It seems unlikely that would happen 2 years in a row. So with that, because again, think about it for the Jets. The Jets hadn't done that since 2012 before they did it last season. So it had been 15 some odd years. It's been a long ass time since it had happened. So you have to be prepared with depth. And I think the key piece of the puzzle is swing tackle. Now, Chukwuma Okorafor is a free agent. We didn't get to see him last year, which is what you perfectly want from your backup lineman. You hope you never have to see him. You don't. Now, he is primarily a right tackle. He did not perform well in his very brief appearance with the Patriots at left tackle. So that's not an ideal swing tackle to have. In a perfect world, you want a swing tackle that can swing. He could play left or right, because if you just have a guy that's specialty left, specialty right, if an injury happens, it makes it more difficult to sort of move pieces around. Like Dylan Parham can play left guard, center, right guard. Joe Tippmann can play right guard, center. Josh Myers has exclusively played center at the NFL level, but he was a top 5 guard recruit in the country coming out of high school. I don't know if they want to go back to high school days for Josh Myers, but there's versatility there. They need a swing tackle. I think that's something they should attack before the draft, give them more flexibility. So again, in a perfect world, you get a guy that can play left and right. But at a minimum, I wouldn't mind bringing Okorafor back because he just rock solid. We didn't hear from him all year. No problems in terms of locker room things or anything of that nature. So on the same cheap-ass veteran minimum deal he was there last year, I'd feel a little bit better at right tackle. But perfect world, somebody who could play left and right.
I'm about to take my temperature because I agree. So I don't know if I'm like coming down with something.
Probably, yeah.
But that is the wide receiver tackle. I actually did a slash with guard as well.
Wow. Okay.
I think everything that you just said about the tackle position, you can say about the guard position. Like we rolled in last year with a swing or with a tackle, right? Backup tackle, a corner forward, like you just said. And then we had Josh Myers, who also was a backup. But of course, AVT out here made of glass, just broke himself in the offseason, and Josh Myers had to start. I would love to be set up that same way, that there is a veteran with NFL's experience that's not named Max Mitchell in the tackle, right, for the swing tackle, and then same thing for the guard or interior line, because a lot of guards, have that fluidity where they can play center, like our 2 guards have. So I definitely want a veteran guard and a veteran tackle added before the draft. I see a lot of people saying, we could obviously draft those positions, and that's true. That's true, but I kind of want the I would sleep better at night knowing that like this is somebody who's done it before, as opposed to hoping and praying that this 21-year-old kid can line up against whoever.
Yeah. Interesting. Max Mitchell has gotten reps at tackle and guard, so I don't know how the Jets view him now. You don't have to put a label on it. I mean, he could just be an OL offensive lineman, and you could just figure it out. They don't have to tell us right now, we see him as a guard or a tackle. Maybe he can just continue to do both. Xavier Newman has been more so an interior player than tackle as opposed to Mitchell. So I'll be curious sort of how they go. But no, I agree. Get another guard, which again, there are plenty of offensive linemen out there now. How good are these offensive linemen? That's up to interpretation. Based on the people for sure. But that's another one of the group. So swing tackle, wide receiver. We talked about QB2. Another thing I would throw out there in the universe is I would like another linebacker. You brought in Demario Davis, who I love, and I've sung the sweet praises for a while. Jamien Sherwood for now is under contract. So I'm curious, does he stay? Does he get traded? What happens there? The Jets were, even after signing Demario Davis, they were exploring the waters with a guy named Micah McFadden. I don't know how many fans in our audience know who that is, but he's a Giants mid-round draft choice from a couple of years ago. He was a free agent this offseason. The Jets were in talks with him before he ended up re-signing with the Giants on like a one-year deal for $3.5 million. So the Jets were interested in potentially bringing him in. He was coming off a season-ending foot injury that he suffered in week 1 last year. So he was a bit of a mystery and had to do a one-year prove-it deal. So that would have been interesting value to bring over a Micah McFadden, and value. He wouldn't have had to move, so save on moving costs, which always is a nice little flavor there. So I personally, I'd like to see another linebacker. I'm fine with a veteran. Again, some people draft-wise, right, they're going to say Sonny Styles or Arvell Reese, who can do both and be your stand-up linebacker, stand-up rusher, or just put your hand in the dirt occasionally. So maybe people are just going to pick draft, but I wouldn't mind a low-cost veteran with upside. Potentially.
I agree. And I'm tired of saying that phrase, but you keep saying things I agree with. So, like a Dane Belton, somebody who, you bring in the 1 year, $4 million, and they were super productive last year. And it's funny because he's a former Giant, and they provide value. I think that is great. I definitely want a linebacker in the draft. That is like in addition to Reese. But that's a position where we haven't had, or currently don't have like the best depth at. We still don't even know what Sherwood is for real. So I would love to kind of turn that room into DeMario's daycare. And we got him, and now you got the young LBs talking about DeMario, like, when is snack time? And he's like, yo, shut the fuck up. We out here, we running drills. And, he can, exactly what CJ did, right? CJ, what he did for Quincy Williams, which was one, team's trash, turned him into the New York Jets treasure, an all-pro. And I think DeMario, he's here for 2 years. Let's utilize that by bringing in someone young, but also bringing in, a younger veteran to kind of become unlocked by DeMario. So I completely agree there. One that I was not expecting, if you asked me a month ago.
Wait, are you about to go to another position?
Oh, I am. You
okay?
You
just real quick, I just saw a super chat, so I just wanted to get.
Yes.
Before we go to another one, real quick.
Wow.
The Tennessee Jet with a $2 super chat. He has a running bit that he also always shows up late, so he wants to know what he missed. We'll catch you up on that in a second. So no BTJs referencing Brian Thomas Jr., the Jacksonville Jaguars wide receiver. We did bring him up earlier. Last night on Jets' final drive, I have it here in my notes. They did bring up Brian Thomas Jr., and Connor Hughes says, quote, keep an eye on that one. We've been hearing that for a while. But from everything that Connor Hughes has heard, and I'll see if I write a follow-up piece about it. I got to catch up on a lot of Jets written work. But he doesn't think this is something that's happening today or tomorrow or next week. He says, keep an eye out for it around the draft. So somewhere in the next 6 weeks, basically. And that's sort of when rubber meets road. Because if the Jaguars are going to move on from BTJ, it behooves them to get a pick that would help them immediately to replace whatever you're losing in Brian Thomas Jr. To trade him after seems sort of silly. For instance, there was Jamal Adams rumors that popped up yesterday, and I covered that in a piece. But the only reason I bring up Jamal Adams is not to address that whatsoever. It's actually just to say when he got traded from the Jets, it was days before training camp in 2020. And not only did you obviously not get something that would help you now, and no, I don't call Bradley McDougal someone that would help you now, with all due respect to the safety they picked up in return from the Seahawks on top of the draft picks. You just made your team a lot worse. So most teams don't purposely make themselves worse, and the Jets went 2-14 that year, by the way, for those counting at home. So I would imagine, I agree with Connor, that if Brian Thomas Jr. is going to get moved, it would be before the draft. And closer to the draft. So we will see what happens. So again, still possible, still up in the air, TBD, but Connor Hughes did say keep an eye out for it. So that's it. And just in terms of what you missed, we talked QB2. Again, Carson Wentz unlikely to come back. We talked about potential other options that could exist. I brought up swing tackle. We've brought up wide receiver. Obviously, that's come up, and now we're going to other positions. So, Tennessee Jet, appreciate your support, pal. Thank you so much for the super chat coming in here on the show. Another reminder, 300 people in the room. Like the video, hit subscribe, baby. Okay, earlier today, somehow we had 1,200 people in the room. So we've had some very popular shows recently, which we very much appreciate. Wudi, tell them real quick.
Take Flight Talk, baby. My short yesterday actually had a whole bunch of viewership, a whole lot of engagement, so I appreciate that. It's where I'm reacting live as much as I can to news as it comes in. We got this show, the greatest 3 p.m. show of all time. Not my words, I've been reading it elsewhere. And we got the flagship show as well, Take Flight Talk, baby. Pretty much there, we got Abby, who's been covering the Jets for over a decade. She's out here. She's ranting. She's bringing the facts. And Michael K, no, not that one, my guy, the college running back, who's in the X's and O's. Sometimes he be missing the show because he has to practice. Not a game, practice, going over those X's and O's. So I love hearing his takes and his unique insight on the game that we all love.
There you go. Beautiful. Well said. TFT, baby. So, guys, show your support. Again, like the video, hit subscribe. That's a free way to hit it. Which, by the way, real quick, I just want to give a special shout out. We continue to hit milestones on this YouTube channel, which very much appreciative of. And another tip of the cap here to another milestone reach. Again, 8,460 subscribers plus here on the channel. We're 5 away from 8,470. So it's been very refreshing. All the pops we've been getting in free agency. So thank you to the fans out there in the audience, 5 away from that. Wudi, I rudely interrupted you. You're about to dive into another position. Please.
Yes, absolutely. And again, I did. If you had told me, March 1st, a position, which position do you feel the best about? This would have been one of the top ones. But now here we are, a few weeks later, and I don't know how to feel, and that is because our guy, Nick Folk Hero, has gone to Atlanta, and Cade York. I mean, I know we New York and all that type of stuff, but come on now. York. It's I'm not loving that. Okay, hasn't played in a couple seasons. I'm looking at I actually Googled Spot Track while the intro was playing because it just hit me what are some options? Oh, they're not looking great, but Matt Prater. He came in for the Bills last year when Tyler Bass got hurt, and he was, spectacular. There was a day where he was like the biggest leg in the NFL. Now, since then, all these kids keep coming in. Whatever they be feeding this young generation, seems like they all got big legs. But Prater, he was that guy. I felt like he was like the pioneer of the 60-yard field goal. And I think we have found success with the older kickers, Greg Zuerlein, which is so – just a quick aside. Greg Zuerlein had 2 fantastic years for the Jets. And for some reason, people only remember that 3rd year. But if you remember the whole history of Greg Zuerlein, he broke the franchise record for longest field goal. He led the team in points scored. I forget which year it was, but it was by a large margin. So we've been finding success with these old kickers. Zuerlein, Folk. I'm saying give Matt Prater a call. Ring, ring. And get this boy, or get this man, this grown man kicking for the Jets because Cade York, and I know they're trying to have a competition, but let's just get this old man in here and call that a day.
Matt Prater does have all balls. Can confirm. Definitely he's old as hell. But, again, I would say this. If anyone's looking sideways at the kicker room, which right now is Lenny Krieg of German descent and Cade York as the room, remember, the Jets signed Nick Folk 3 days after training camp started, and he ended up being the kicker. So maybe the day one starting kicker ain't even on the roster. Or maybe to Wudi's point, he wants Matt Prater, who clearly isn't on the roster at this point. So that could be something to keep an eye for. Again, I couldn't agree more at kicker. I don't blame Nick Folk. He got a multi-year deal, which I imagine is very important when you're 41. So for someone to give you financial security at this stage has to be good. And playing for a dome team where it's controlled temperatures 8 or 9 of your home games, depending on the rotation of the year. Plus, if you just play a couple of other dome teams on your schedule. So I can't blame Nick Folk at all. I imagine being in a dome and better weather for most of the year has to be great. The teams are playing against the Saints, the Panthers, the Bucks, all Southern teams. So I don't blame Nick Folk at all. All old people go to Florida to retire, go down south to retire. So, it's the natural way of life, I suppose. So salute to Nick Folk going down to Georgia and to hang up the cleats. So salute to Nick Folk. But hey, Matt Prater, he just did it for Buffalo. So maybe anything is possible. A new quarterback name has entered the octagon here, Wudi. What about another reunion?
Wow.
Johnny Boy with a $2 super chat says, Zach Wilson has entered the chat. Don't kill me. He has not entered the chat.
I would never harm you, Johnny Boy, but come on now. If I even start talking about this, my blood pressure is gonna raise through the roof. Zach Wilson stinks. He is the worst. I guess there's really not much else to say other than that. I'm sure there's a lot of you guys that would love that because for some reason you just fall in love with these horrible, horrible players just because they wore a jersey.
I mean, I do have his jersey in my closet, so I'd like to get some use out of it. So if he was back, that would be the use I would get, even though it's an old jersey now because they change jerseys every year. So even then it would be
they do change.
Unfortunately, that would still be old as well. But no, hey, good for Zach. He got $6 million fully guaranteed for the Dolphins last year because I don't know what puff pass Mike McDaniel was slinging in South Beach, but good for Zach that he got that kind of money. And if Zach just doesn't step in front of a podium, which, by the way, backup quarterbacks normally don't, outside of whatever locker room activity happens, Zach Wilson can be around for 15, 20 years collecting a paycheck. That's the best job in the league. Backup quarterback holding a clipboard, that's the best place to be in the league. So, hey, man, just shut up and throw the football. Shut up and dribble. Shut up and throw the football. And you should be able to be in the league for a long time. The NFL is a brotherhood. It's all about who you know. And outside of some of the stupid stuff he said when he was here at quarterback for the Jets, I imagine he's going to be fine. But again, let me just make this bluntly and abundantly clear. He has not entered this chat or any chat. So I'm not going to kill you, Johnny Boy. I'm just going to tell you to shut the hell up. Hell no. Zach Wilson ain't coming here. Stop.
No.
Stop. Come on. Stop playing around. So kickers on the list. I would throw another one here on the list.
Mm-hmm.
Give me some safety action. Now, I'm going to be curious here. Yes.
Wow.
So Minkah Fitzpatrick spoke earlier today to the media. Now, candidly, all cards on the table. I've not heard the press conference myself. I've only seen transcribed quotes. But Minkah apparently was asked, what do you see your role being? And he says, I haven't hammered this all out with the Jets, but I would love to go to the nickel where I was in Miami. And I hear nickel. I'm like, interesting. So could they play Jarvis Brownlee at boundary? Because he does have experience at boundary corner. And then do you sort of mix and match with Nashawn Wright, who they just added?
Mm-hmm.
You still have Azaria Thomas. You have Brandon Stevens. If he's playing more nickel, then that means you would, in theory, again, this is a complicated thing to explain in a short period of time. But if he's playing more nickel, then you may still need 2 safeties on the back end. Now, there's personnel packages that your nickel could be one of your safeties and you're just playing smaller and you take a linebacker off the field and have nickel on. But so there's a lot of extra football, blah, 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 hoopla of what's going to go on there. But even before I heard that fun fact today, I thought there could be a 3 safety rotation, which again, Dade Belt would be in that conversation. Malachi Moore would be in that conversation. Minkah would be in that conversation. And I'm not sure if it's another veteran. I did see the Jason Pinnock rumors. Apparently, there was a big miscommunication. He tweeted out 2 plane emojis, and people went, "Oh, Jet reunion, baby! Join the club. It's a conga line. Join in." He went, and apparently he tweeted those out, went to sleep, woke up the next morning to like 1,000 text messages, and he said, "Oh, sorry, I just meant on the move. I didn't mean the Jets." And a lot of fans were angry and tweeting at him, and he says, "Hey, man, you misinterpreted it. It wasn't me." Now, on the move, I don't think I would use I'd probably use a car maybe or something, like plane. But anywho.
Even just like an arrow or something like
that could be as well, right? To use a plane, there's only one team that is a plane team, and one that you used to play for. I think I can understand the dot connecting, but I don't want people yelling at Jason Pinnock, whatever, man. So he's not coming. But I would say this draft is very, very deep at safety. If the Jets do some moving around the board and you have a chance to get one of these young, talented safeties in here, I don't know how much longer. Like Minka signed a new deal, so he should be here a couple of years. Malachi is heading into the second year of his deal. Dane Belton's only a 1-year deal, though. So I'm just curious if they dip their toes because it's so great. Like, man, you can't have enough good players back there, and AG will figure it out. So you seemed a little surprised, or maybe you're going to disagree with this one for the first time in the show. But I have safety on the list.
Yeah, but my disagreement will be respectful. I respectfully disagree.
Respectfully.
I mean, if they sign a safety, it's not like I'm gonna be, mad or anything. I'm not gonna go Super Saiyan. But my guy, Gohan, he mentioned that there are some safeties. Now at this point in time, after Thieneman, he had the fantastic combine. And we think, he kind of, jumped into that top 16 or top 20. And the moves that they made, Minka, Dane, I don't know if I would do that. I wouldn't be mad if they did, but I'm not sure if that would be my top choice. But like if McNeil Warren is there at 33, there's I'm forgetting his name right now, Kilgore. Right, a little bit later, right? I've done some mocks where he was there in the 4th round. I think there are options where they can get a safety so that they're rolling with like this rookie safety, Malachi Moore, Belton, and Minka, and I think that would be fantastic. And you have that security of if Belton, isn't what he was last year with the Giants. Oh well, you got this young cat. But if he is, then you just have an embarrassment of riches, So I think I would want to supplement that with the draft. I think getting that next young safety is pretty high on my list. In terms of going into the draft and positions that I would want to get. Obviously, edge is at the top, but after edge is wide receiver and safety, and I think we would be set for it's a more long-term option because even with Minka under contract, and honestly his contract was like the only thing stopping me from grading that move an A+. I feel like it's a little rich. It's a little rich for your boy. We don't know if he's going to be Minka by the end of that contract, so I would like to have a safety here to be that safety net if he's not.
Has it? And I'm not saying this like a jerk. I'm saying this because I may have missed it because I've heard conflicting reports. Was the Minka contract you saw 3 years for 40?
That is what I saw.
Okay.
Was I misled? I was misled?
No. That's what I saw, but I was slightly misled because I saw someone else put a different number out there later, and I haven't had a chance to verify and go back, but I heard 3 year 40. And if that is the case with his contract, we're talking about 13.3 per, and that was like 12th and again, free agency's happening. So I don't think there was many massive safety deal. 1, 2, 3, 4. So well, let me not talk at a turn. Let me double check and see if they updated the numbers real quick on Over the Cap. Let me see where they put it.
It was like 7th when I saw when I looked at Over the Cap. It was
definitely. So this is what I'm talking about. I'm curious what changed. is they have him at a much higher number here on over the cap. They have him at 16.5 million, but that doesn't make sense for 3 years, 40 for it to be that high. That math
But
doesn't
isn't
make
that
any sense.
like his old deal? His deal with the Dolphins was?
But I believe they ripped it up, and this 3-year 40 is new. That's why I'm saying I was a little
Mm.
confused. So I'm going to have to go back and do some more research into the contract details to see what's up, because 16.5 and him being, what did you say? 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 now because of a new deal that went through. So him being potentially 8th or being 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, he would be at 14. That to me is a significant gap in the marketplace. So I am curious, what's the truth on the contract? Is it just 3 for 40 brand new scratch? Is it 3 for 40 attached to the last year, which sort of fudged up the numbers? I'm going to have to double check the numbers.
Gotcha. Yeah, that was my understanding. JD Sir City, I think, also based on his verbiage, that's what I thought. Like he had the last year of the deal that he signed with, Miami, and then or Pittsburgh rather, right? And then we just do 3 years for 40, tacked on the end of that. But I'm not sure. I'm definitely not 100% sure, but definitely a good move. Like I said, all around, just that's a little rich. If you're looking at over the cap right now, he's like one of the oldest dudes on the right. There's some guy, what's his name, Derwin James. Like, there's some guys there, but he's one of the oldest. I'm like, damn, looking at that. So in 2 years, I would like to have had a safety, and if it's one of these two names that are on our screen right now, I'm very confident that they will be, high quality safeties. When Minka's contract is running out.
Also, I hate when they do stuff like this. So on over the cap, you see it says 30, right?
Yes.
I'm assuming. Yeah, he's 29. He doesn't turn 30 till November. So, like, why are we trying to age people? Like, I'm 32. I don't turn 33 until next month. So don't stop dropping the 3 threes on me, okay? Let's not rush it. All right, so I saw another 30. Whoa, he's 29 for like, whatever, 7 more months, 9 more months, 10 more months. Like, come on, man. Like, whoa, bring it on now. But to go on Inger's comment, and you said it a little bit there, I think Dylan Thieneman could be an option at 16. Not that that's what the Jets should do with everything they've done. Like, that's where he's going to go. So, like, if you want him, you may have to do that. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, the Toledo kid that you like, Gohan Ingerd, Daniel Jeremiah's had him consistently top 20 for most of the offseason. Now, he's been higher on him than most, but so we will see. But Daniel has been pretty good. Like on the Mekhi Becton year, where he obviously went 11th overall to us, I heard Mekhi in the 2nd or 3rd round, and then Daniel Jeremiah had him 4th overall to the Giants, and I went, what? I'm like, oh, shit. And then Mekhi ended up being a first-round pick, so like Daniel was just ahead of it. He just had good sourcing, good people. So maybe that's what happens again here with like a guy like Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. That I would be sort of curious about. So we'll see.
Yeah, definitely worth seeing. And like seeing how things shape up with the different positions. I mean, that 16 pick is just so intriguing to me. Mostly because like it's a lot, what happens with number 2. I see. My peeps on Take Flight Talk, there's been a little bit of a debate, if you will, between drafting Bailey or Reese with that number 2. I don't know if you currently have a preference.
I do.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Do
we'll
you?
talk about that. Me, no, actually. I feel like it's more of what the coaches feel would fit what they're trying to do. And I see Envelet, right, has points on pro Reese, and Gohan Ingerd has points pro Bailey. I probably got to talk to our guy, the encyclopedia, Ryan Roberts, my favorite person that we've brought on the show. He's about to be on the show in a couple of weeks. And he's going to give us our 2 cents. Maybe that's when I'll formulate a preference because, his insight is gold. But right now, I'm cool with whatever the coaching staff rolls with or feels comfortable with.
Yeah, for me right now, gun to my head, things can change, I guess, and it's been this way for a little bit. Arvell Reese, I feel like is the guy. he had a terrific combine, but like people like because of Sonny Styles combine, like people forget about how good Arvell Reese looked at the combine. And it's not just the combine, of course, but like he had a spectacular performance, but it sort of got lost in the shuffle. He could just do it all. The versatility intrigues me, especially with how the rest of this defense is lining up. When you look at David Onyemata, when you look at Devondre Sweat, Will McDonald, Demario Davis now, you just look at the front seven, Harrison Phillips, Juwan Briggs, and you're like, wow, I can see this very versatile chess piece lining up opposite of Will McDonald and going crazy, stepping back with Demario Davis and covering the middle of the field, and just sort of just like boop, 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 like, just going crazy. And that is super exciting. The fact he's only 20 is super exciting, that we already think he could be this, and he's got this incredible runway of how long in theory he could play, which was exciting. An exciting thing about Bryce on the offensive side of the ball, he was so young. He's 24 and his rookie contract over. He just got franchise tag, 24. So like there's just so much more meat left on the bone when those players hit. So that to me is super exciting. So the versatility for me on Reese is a big reason. The upside, what he is already, like people are calling him boom bust, but it's not just a boom bust thing because he's just a really good off-ball linebacker right now. Now, off-ball linebackers don't normally go second overall, but people are making that case for Sonny Styles. And then there's the edge rushing upside of where, and Arvell talked about at the combine, he wants to be an edge rusher full-time at the next level, but he's cool doing whatever the defensive coaches ask him. So right now I'm on Arvell for all the pro Arvell reasons. The only thing that scares me about Bailey is I love the straight up production. There's no projection necessary. He had 14 and a half sacks last year. Like the raw numbers are there, but the run defense shit scares the bleep out of me. Now, again, if you have David Onyemata, Harrison Phillips, Juwan Briggs, Devondre Sweat, maybe you have enough run defense guys that you don't need David Bailey to be a beautiful, perfect edge setter in the run game, and he could just go do what he does, and he's a hired hitman. But you sort of have that with Will. So I don't know if I want the same things on opposite sides. And again, they're not exactly the same player, but just the archetype of like pass rush use, run game questionable. That part sort of makes me a little nervous.
Shout out to my guy, or our guy, James Kennedy, for literally saying the same thing. Like, it could be Will McDonald 2.0.
Yeah, there you go.
Right? Nervous about, again, another guy who can't set the edge. Bro, that I'm worried. I definitely don't want. I don't even want Will McDonald 1.0. So to get 2.0 would be wild.
Well, I'll trust the staff. Like if they take like again, I'm going to be at the draft. If they take David Bailey, I'm not going to boo the pick. I'm like, holy shit. They're going to say all kinds of wonderful things about his numbers and how disruptive he is. And again, if you watch the college football playoff, he was blocking passes. He was like just blowing people the hell up. Like, again, that's exciting. And I have to trust their judgment. And some people won't because what we saw last year, but I'm going to trust the judgment and say, hey, they know whatever they're looking for. They have the choice of anyone. So they weren't forced into a decision. They didn't have to sell themselves on a David Bailey. If they go in that direction, they could have had David Bailey. They could have had Arvell Reese. They could have had Ruben Bain. They could have had Sonny Styles. They're the choice of the whole lot. You just got to hope they make that, with knowing everything they know, that they make the right decision. So if they pick him, I'll trust the gut and say, all right, let's go to war.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Some people it's going to be harder to trust their decision making than others. And as you guys already know, I would have been fired Aaron Glenn 7 times already. So I'm not holding any punches. I do not trust him to draft a quarterback or evaluate anything about the quarterback. I think he just proved that again. My God, giving this man keys. Oh God, I can't even think about it. But on the defensive side of the ball, maybe like he worked with Aiden Hutchinson, who was a beast. And I kind of feel like can't miss, but he was missed. He wasn't. They didn't even, the Jets, didn't even draft him. So I can't say that, right? Because they I believe that was Trayvon Walker who they picked over him that year. So
over Hutch, you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yes, it was Trayvon. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Hutch, came in and, was fantastic. So this is AG's chance to get another player on the D line to wreak havoc. So,
hey, by the way, just to put some respect on Trayvon Walker, like this is his seasons. They've been inconsistent. 3.5 sacks, 10 sacks, 10.5 sacks, 3.5 sacks. So like he hasn't certainly been Aiden Hutchinson, who has a much higher floor, but and ceiling for that matter. Like both, he has both. He's a better player, obviously, but like Trayvon hasn't been too shabby, man.
Yeah. No, and I didn't mean it like that. Like, oh, Trayvon Walker, but like I was just saying like. Because some people would say like, oh, like Hutch, like, you don't deserve credit for Hutch because he was a can't miss.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, okay. But I'm saying like he wasn't even, the Jags had the same evaluation, whatever, and they chose Walker. That's what I meant. But yeah, so I'll give AG, credit for that, and we'll see. So that's what I'm saying. Now that we're in a similar situation where we need a pass rusher that can pretty much do it all. Whatever his choice is, I will respect based on that. Like that's what I'm saying. And like I said, I don't trust QB evaluate. There's a lot of things I don't trust, but I will choose to trust that. Shout out to our guy, friend of the show, Macho Talk Sports. He's out here on the Take Flight Talk channel. And I can't lie. Gotham City Bane is still one of the best nicknames of all time. I would not be mad. For me, it is still a 3-horse race. I think the fan base has just eliminated him. They're hearing the short arms. They're all nervous. They don't like T-Rexes. But for me, it's still a 3-horse race. I love this guy's passion. I feel like intangibles. Obviously, I've never met him in my life, so I'm really only going off of, the footage that I've seen. But it just seems like this guy is somebody who is dedicated to the game. He's a dog. He's an animal. He's tough. He's strong. And I would love to call him a New York Jet for.
Who are your three? You said you think it's down to 3. Who are the 3?
Reese, Bailey, Bane.
Oh, so Sonny Styles is out for you.
Well, I didn't say, but I mean, Sonny Styles is, he's not on the edge. And like, I feel like no one was talking about him at number 2. Like now, yes, he had, a great combine and people, but I would say pretty much from the get-go, it was between these 3 guys. Yeah. Even like while the season was going on, we were talking about Bane. Yeah. And then, Bailey crept up, Reese was, there. But I think, throughout the whole process, those 3 guys were being mentioned. And then Sonny just, popped up with the combine. But I still don't think with what we got going on, Sonny, is is the best pick at 2.
Yeah, I saw the viral clip. Todd McShay, someone tweeted it from Todd McShay's podcast earlier that he says, he sort of, first off, way to flex. He says, I know a lot of information about like what the Jets are going to do. So he said that at one point. And then in his mock draft, he picks Sonny Styles and thinks like that's a lot. Basically, I'm paraphrasing, but like that's a much bigger possibility too than people realize. So we'll see what's the truth. It's Lion season, so you never know, up from down. But obviously, that's another position we didn't talk about directly, but like that's on the list too, is edge rusher, obviously, on this list of other things on the to-do list. I wouldn't be mad if they added another pass rusher, to be honest. I don't know who else is out there in the range of what they would want to pay based on what they've already done, but I wouldn't mind adding more bodies to that room. Obviously, 2 is going to be a front 7 player too, so that's part of the conversation, but just to add that. And I think that's basically it of everything. I believe so.
Yeah, the last one that I had written down is corner. But if they draft a corner, right, I think that's cool. I mean, we have some guys now. Deshaun Wright was, obviously he was good last year. Is that a flash in the pan? Is that the start of something special? We don't know. And that's, I guess that the answer to that question kind of really defines if we need a quarterback or not. Because if he is the guy who he was last year, then I guess we're good rolling with him. Mr. Even Stevens over there, and
are you a Quantez guy or no?
I like Quantez. I want him to be a Jet. I would hate to see him.
You have Brandon Stevens, Jarvis Brownlee Jr., Azaria Thomas. You have Deshaun Wright and Quantez right now. If you add no one else in the room, you're already at 5. So that's just what I was saying as we're counting them up. Like, I like Quantez as well. but I'm trying to figure out the rest of the room because Nahshon is making the roster outside of something crazy. Brandon's making the roster. Jarvis Brownlee's making the roster. Zaria Thomas is making the roster. Qantas is the bubble. And then if you sign or trade for anyone else, now we're in real danger zone. Depending on your NFL team of choice, they keep between 5 to 7 corners, and 7 is very rare. So normally it's in sort of that 6 range, and one more guy, and Qantas is on the bubble. He's probably already on the bubble as is, but he's more on the bubble if you add another piece.
That's true. That's true. I wouldn't want to see him gone, but the corner, like I'm thinking about someone. I'm not talking about like depth, like how I was saying, like for the the guys below AD Mitchell for receiver. I like who is locking up DJ Moore right now? Like I feel like that's still like a Brandon Stevens,
baby.
And that's not what we need. So I would, there are some guys out there that might be a draft situation. I don't even think there are any corners, of that caliber still available. But I do think that position, and I guess that's where Nahshon Wright comes in. If that's if who he was last year is who he is this year, then it'll probably be fine. But if he's not, then I kind of would want someone in there. But Stickers in the limited times that we saw him, he's fine. We all rooting for him. His story is awesome. He's great in special teams. So I would like to see him be a Jet if possible.
Which, again, would certainly make a lot of sense. By the way, I saw this comment. I just wanted to bring it up here. M. Villette says, Brownlee can't play outside corner. Stiggs is a gunner. I have PFF pulled up here, and last season, Jarvis Brownlee Jr. played nearly as much boundary corner that he did slot corner last season, according to the numbers that I have here from last season. He played 170 snaps at boundary corner, 178 snaps in the slot, and that's just from last season. If we go to, let me see if I can. Here it is. Just trying to see where the hell the thing is here. In 2024, he played 700 snaps at boundary corner, 100 snaps at slot corner. So he has plenty of experience, as a matter of fact, according to the numbers at boundary corner here in his career. So I strongly push back on that, where people say he's not a boundary corner. That's one of the things. The Jets got him and said, we think he'd be better in the slot, and put him there. But the analytics say absolutely he can play boundary corner, which, again, depending on how they view the Minkah situation, maybe he is someone we haven't been considering at boundary corner.
Yeah, I definitely think he has that versatility. I'm seeing some pushback, like Boss Girl was like, oh, that's where he got some penalties. I can't lie, he was definitely liable for some penalties. But I think that's also where he got, the first turnover that we forced, 8 games into the season. That was when he was on the boundary. So, I feel like you gotta take the good, take the bad, take them both, and there you have, the facts of Jarvis Brownlee. So I'm cool with that. I'm expecting Azaria, if he's healthy, to have a nice bounce back season. Because I think a lot of us were super high on him when he was drafted. He was looking like locked down. So hopefully we can see some of that on the field this season.
For sure. Is there any other positions you wanted to get to, Woody?
No, I think we covered them. Muji covered the rest. Talking about. But I feel like this was a nice, great group discussion. I mean, both YouTube chats are just popping. Take Flight Talk, Boy Green 25. We out here, and I love the engagement.
I love, as do I, James Wudi. So thank you. We have 400 people in the room right now. Again, if you got a laugh from this show, you got some information from this show, anything, make sure you guys show your support on the way out, whether you're watching live or after the fact. Like the video. You hear people say that all the time on YouTube. Like the video. Like I said, some stupid thing that we're just supposed to be taking care of. What the? Let me confirm this story that I just saw.
Oh my God. It's Jets related?
It's sort of Jets related. Let me see. I don't want to say something if I can't confirm I got a text about it. I want to see that it's real before I do this. Let me see. Oh my goodness. It's
Oh,
not let me see. I just need to do a quick Twitter search and make sure I have this right. Okay, maybe a false alarm here. Oh, no, it is not. Okay, let me
oh my God.
okay, it looks like it's okay. This is sad news. Former Jet Bryce Huff just announced on his Instagram he's retiring from the NFL. Wow. Okay, so there you go. Bryce Huff retirement. That caught me off guard. So former Jet Bryce Huff. And man, what
Is
a
that an injury or something? What is
I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to go back to his Instagram and see whatever the hell this is from. I'm unclear. I'm not seeing any reason for why he did it, but again, Bryce Huff was a fun Jet, and again, an undrafted free agent that we all loved. So, wow.
Yeah, I thought he was just making plays last year for solid Niners. I was expecting him to be a Titan this year. I don't know.
Was too, all things considered.
That's why I'm like really confused, and he's not old. So I, obviously wishing him the best. And sorry to hear that. That's why I asked, is it injury or whatever? But yeah, Bryce Huff, appreciate his time. With the Jets, and obviously wishing him the best for him and the fam. Hopefully, it's not a health issue that's forcing his hand.
Yeah, so I'm seeing it here. There's a full video. He didn't release a statement like normal people. He did a video, and he's off in a beautiful place wherever he is. There's beautiful blue skies around him. And he said, instead of it was too long to post, so he said I wanted to do a video reading it, and it's him in some beautiful mountain hill setting of some kind. And yeah, I can show people real quick on the phone as he's reading this. Here is Bryce Huff. That's his official Instagram. He's in some beautiful place with a beautiful blue sky there, and he's reading a statement he prepared of his sudden retirement from the NFL. So, like I said, I don't like sharing stories before they're confirmed. He is 27, by the way. He turns 28 in April. Man, his flame shone bright, but exited very quickly. The good news is for Bryce, he goes home. He moves on to the next phase of his life with a Super Bowl ring. I know he didn't contribute much to that Philadelphia Eagles team. It doesn't matter. You have that Super Bowl ring forever. He put up some stats and had some fun with sacks and forced fumbles and had a very respectable career. So big salute to Bryce Huff. Again, to the same thing, Wudi, you just said, hopefully it's not medical. I'll have to hear the full video after. I see he's talking about his multiple years in New York and said how special it was to him. So that's very nice. He included that clearly here in his statement. Yeah, there's a whole thing about his Jets tenure. I'm just seeing it because it shows captions from the video. I'll check.
I don't know if Boy Green is frozen for you right now. He's frozen for me. I don't know if I'm frozen. Oh, okay. Oh, yes. That was you. You were frozen. I thought it was me.
Sorry.
I was about to start singing "Let It Go."
I thought it was you too. Yeah, because
was it me? Oh, maybe it was me.
No, I think it was really me. But I saw you. It showed you buffering first. I'm like, look at this, and then I saw me. I'm like, shit, it was me. So, long story short, again, I don't know where I got lost there, but anywho, Bryce Huff is set to retire. He's only 27. Hopefully, it's not serious medical reasons. I'll have to double check his Instagram video after. I'll write a story about it, but. Good for Bryce. He had some nice words to say about the Jets. So on our way out, again, if you got any information like news like that breaking, or you enjoy the show or anything, like the video, hit subscribe, and keep spreading the gospel for all things on Take Flight Talk and here at Boy Green 25, Woody.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate every single person in here. I love coming in here talking Jets with obviously my guy right here, the boy who became king, but everyone in the comments. We read them all, right? We try to react to as many as possible. Even my peeps on Instagram appreciates you guys as well. And we're going to be back. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I can confirm this for all my Take Flight Talk followers or subscribers on YouTube. we should be going live tomorrow. So, we taking flight, and I appreciate your time.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. Take care.